Namaste, welcome to our practice. Let's come onto our mats and gather what we need for our practice. I invite you to reach for any props that will help to lift the earth up towards you, or that you can reach towards in order to find balance or stability. Our practice today is honoring Ganesha, the elephant-headed deity. And as we move towards more change in our communities, with lockdown lifting in places, with a return to normality as is being claimed, we may begin to feel a little groundless, rootedless, have a sense of being rootless, sense of anxiety or fear about the change coming, especially if we have concerns about our health or the health of our loved ones. So the energy of Ganesha is grounding and rooting. Ganesha is the placer of obstacles and the remover of obstacles. So Ganesha will lay in our path challenge, adversity, difficulty. Ganesha will also help us to remove challenge, adversity, difficulty. By placing strategic obstacles or challenges or adversities in our path, it means we are sometimes guided into a different direction, a direction that we may not have imagined possible. So that saying of when one door closes, another opens. Ganesha is not only the deity for closing opportunities. Gaeta is also the deity of openings, of opportunities, of new beginnings. I invite you to come into your Ganesh Mudra. The Ganesha Mudra is the left hand closest to the heart, palm turned out, and bring the right hand in front of it, and then slide your fingers across so that you can hook the ends of your fingers, and then rest your thumbs. Create space between the shoulders and the ears by lifting the crown, maybe slightly tucking the chin so that there's an opening along the back of the neck, the cervical spine there. Ground through the heaviest points of your body here, which is your pelvis and hips. And then as that provides you with the anchor, lift your spine out of that pelvic bowl. As we inhale, soften through your shoulders, elbows, hands, and fingers. As you exhale, activate as if you're trying to draw your hands apart. This will feel counterintuitive, so we'll practice together. Inhale to soften, surrender, relax. Exhale to activate, engage, extend. Inhale to soften, surrender, release. Exhale to activate. Inhaling, softening. Exhaling, engaging. So you might notice a gentle fall and rise at the elbows as you engage and as you soften. We're playing with the pran of vitality here. So when we exhale, we're gifting the vitality, the energy to those most in need of support. And when we inhale, we're drawing in the energy for ourselves and all of the places in which we might benefit from receiving the support, the vital energy, the life-giving energy from our community. As we exhale, we hold the tension through our elbows and wrists. And as we inhale, we soften and release the tension. Inhale, softening. Exhale, engaging. 3 more breaths in this way. Danny, can you let someone into the room, please? Thank you. And on your third inhale, soften through your elbows, your wrists, your hands, your fingers. And on the exhale now, I invite you to squeeze in the pelvis, the Mula Bandha, engage the pelvis. Hug in the navel to the spine. Engage the Uddiyana Bandha. Tuck in the chin and activate as you exhale here through your elbows. So everything feels fully engaged. When you have released all of the breath, hold this tension through the body. Engage the Mula Bandha, the Uddiyana, the Jalandhar Bandha. Activate through those elbows. And when you're ready, on the inhale, soften and release your Ganesh Mudra. Return to your natural breath, the natural rhythm, in and out. And notice now all of the places in which, when you were exhaling, you were creating an activation through your muscles and joints. Perhaps you feel the after effects of the tension, especially through your biceps, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, your fingers. Feel this current of energy. As you inhale, now let's reach up for the count of 4. Hands together. Exhale for the count of 6. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath in for a couple of seconds and then exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath out for 2 seconds. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last round. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath in. 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath out. 2, 1. Take a moment here. Release the elbows. Again, connect with where you are holding tension. That reaching out through the fingers, that full activation of the arms. Let's remove our block and come directly onto all fours here. Place your hands underneath your shoulders. Spread your fingers wide. I'm going to do that clawing action, which is active hands. This is known as the Hasta Bandha. This is the hand lock. So press through the tips of your fingers, bend into your knuckles, and then connect with these lower knuckles at the palm. Connect to the outer edges and the inner edges of the palm, and then suction up the palm itself. So that's you're clawing the earth. Let's tuck the toes here to be active. Hug in the navel to the spine. Imagine you're squeezing a block between your thighs, ready to sprint out of the blocks here, fully active and engaged. One breath here, and then lift the knees and hover here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale to lower. 3 breaths here. And then again, let's lift and hover the knees. 3, 2, 1. Imagine that you're squeezing that block between the inner thighs. Exhale to lower. One last time. Inhale, lift. 3, 2, 1. Exhale to lower. Sit back on your heels. Now, if you want to cushion your knees here, bring a folded blanket, place it underneath your knees. You can also place a folded or rolled up blanket at the back of the knees. Sit back on your heels. See how your toes are feeling here in this curled position. Again, another option is to perhaps take a block, and then you can always place your feet on the block, or you can curl your toes and place them on the block, because that might ease it. And the more forward you lean with your upper body, the less weight there will be in your heels. So play around and see what feels more sustainable for this toe lock. So now this is a toe lock. Pada Bandha. Hands come together in your Hakini Mudra. All of the fingertips touch, and then create a sphere with your hands. Let's bring this Hakini Mudra in front of the belly. And visualize here Ganesha's pot belly. This round belly full of laddus, sweet things. It is also said that the universe is held within us, and that Ganesha holds the whole of the universe in the belly. Inhale, begin to lift your hands. Keep your elbows bent to lift the hands above the crown. We'll do this count of breath. Again, this coherent breath. So as you exhale, let's count for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath out. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath in for 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath out. And then inhale for 4. Reason we're adopting Hakini Mudra here is that when we feel disconnected, when we feel anxious or rootless, or when there's change coming up, we don't know which direction to go in, we can visualize that the world is within us. The whole of the universe is within us. And the choices and decisions we make are ones that we can manage, that we can control, that we have agency over, that we have sovereignty in. Exhaling for 6, back down to the abdomen. And then let's release our hands. Place the left hand on the left side and then reach up and over with the right arm to come into a lateral stretch over to the left. Let's go over to the right. Back through center 3 times. And if you begin to feel tired, so especially here, you might begin to feel it in the toes. You might begin to feel it in the Achilles tendon. If you wish to untuck your toes, you may take that option at any point. 3 times in both directions, my friends. This swaying of the arm overhead, swaying of Ganesha's trunk. The trunk represents the serpentine movement of the trunk, represents Kundalini energy, the vibrant energy which rises in through us. Bring your hands to the earth when you've finished and completed your lateral crescents to both sides. Untuck your toes now. Take a moment here. Let's extend the left leg long. Flex the foot. Claw your hands into the earth. And when you're ready, reach forward with your trunk. Balancing here and reach back with your right hand to your left foot. Take a clasp here. This imitation of the Ganesh Mudra. Exhale, bring the right hand to the earth, bring the left knee to the earth. Let's go over to the right leg, extend it long. When you're ready, my friends, reach forward with the left arm. Exhale to reach back. Create a lock between your left hand and your right foot. This circuit of energy that is guided, directed by all of the challenges that come your way, the choices and opportunities, the possibilities, endings and new beginnings. Exhale, release the left hand to the earth, release the right knee to the earth. Take a moment here if you wish to circle in one direction, then the other. Perhaps you bring in cat-cow, Madhyasan, Bithlyasan. Sway from side to side, fold in your wrists, your fingers, so you can create these solid blocks with your hands. Maybe you go forward and back into child's pose. Take a few moments here just to flow. And when you are satisfied with your movements, let's prepare to rise up into Mountain Parvatasana. Claw through your hands. Inhale, lift your knees here, toes tucked. Let's pause here for a moment. And then exhale to reach the tailbone back towards behind you. And pedal your feet here. Create some sway, some movement. Be mindful of your belly here. Notice how the abdomen feels heavy here. Perhaps you shift the weight back into your hips a little bit more, into your pelvis. Come to stillness, my friends. Look underneath your body towards your left. Look towards your left foot. And then reach out underneath with your right hand and take hold of your left leg wherever you connect. Perhaps you connect with the left ankle, the left calf, the left thigh, or perhaps you're reaching over. Look underneath your left armpit. This is the trunk of Ganesha. Three more breaths. Then turn to gaze towards the earth. Release the right hand. Take a moment here if you wish to sway. And we're going to now look towards the right leg. And when you're ready, release the weight into the right hand, right arm, and reach underneath your body with your left hand and take hold of any part of your leg that you reach. Or aim that left hand towards the right leg. And then look underneath your right armpit. Notice the turning and the twisting of your trunk, your physical trunk. This is a powerful asana. Feel the solidity of your connection with the earth. One more breath here. Turn to gaze to center and then release your hand and begin to walk your hand back towards your feet, high up on your fingers or on your blocks. Your feet are as wide as the mat or just a little bit short, about an inch in from the mat, depending on how wide your mat is. Bend into your knees here and then shift the weight of your hips and pelvis behind your heels. Crawl your fingers forward so that you can elongate your spine here. Have a deep or gentle bend in your knees. Lengthen through the spine. Imagine that you are counter-reaching with your hips and your hands. Functional forward fold. Breathe deep into the back. So imagine that your breath is reaching the very bottom of your lungs, your rib cage. Your lower back is expanding with the breath. And then bring your hands towards your feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Bring your hands on your thighs and then with support, begin to reach up tall with your crown, maintaining the length in your spine as you rise up slowly to standing mountain Tadasana. So here you should have a very generous stance here with your feet. They are as wide or just a little less wide your mat. Keep your toes pointing forward. Full breath here in standing mountain. Bring your hands together in Hakini Mudra. Hold the world in your hands, the whole of the universe. Hands parallel to your navel. Soft bend in your knees. Inhale, reach up with your hands up towards the sky and bend into your knees so that you come into a wide, strong pose, chair pose. So normally we bring our feet quite close together, so maintain this distance between the feet. We're creating space in our practice today. Arms alongside your ears, slightly tuck in your chin. Draw in the navel, engage the Mulabandha. Breathe into the lower back. 3 more breaths here in our variation of Utkatasana. Inhale, power through the feet, through the legs. Inhale to rise up. Exhale, hands down towards the navel. Now you know where we're going. Let's do this twice more. Inhale, as you bend into your knees, lift your hands, the Hakini Mudra, above your crown. Power through your legs here. Feel the strength in your legs. Connect through all 4 corners of your feet. When you're ready, power to rise up. Exhale, hands down towards the navel. So I'm hoping you can feel the activation of your muscles here. By holding Hakini Mudra and by bending into our fingers, we create this gesture of power in the hands. So you can really feel the connection. So let's go one more time wherever you are. Inhale, bend into your knees, lift your arms. A little bit lower, my friends. And then when you're ready, power through to rise up. Exhale, Hakini Mudra to your navel. Take a moment to release the breath. And from here, we're going to come into moon pose Chandrasana. So I invite you to heel toe your legs in, feet in, until you're happy with wherever they are, your sort of natural balancing point, usually aligned with our hips. Inhale to reach overhead. Interlace all your fingers and turn your palms to face up. Exhale over to the left. Inhale to center, over to the right. So this swaying palm tree variation of Chandrasana. Inhale to center. Twice more in both directions. Ground through all four corners of your feet. Heavy your hips and pelvis. Soft bend in your knees. Length in your spine. One more time, both directions. Again, feel the power here. So this heaviness, this rootedness with the lower body, this length and height with the upper body. And this engagement with the energy of Ganesha. Release your hands. Maintain this lock for a moment. I'm going to move into a forward fold. So hinge at the knees, reach forward and exhale. Bring your hands down towards the earth. Bend in your knees and then let's move our hands either to our wrists or to our elbows and sway from left to right here in forward fold. The swaying action is with the upper body, keeping your feet, your legs anchored, squeeze in at the inner thigh. So in order to connect here, imagine you're holding a block. And what that does is it turns on the inner adductors so that we turn on the muscles in our legs. The swaying, the twists and turns of our life's journey. Release your hands from your elbows. Inhale to unwind your spine one vertebra at a time. Chin is tucked until you get to upright. And then from here, my friends, we're going to take a big step forward with the right leg. So your hands can be on your hips, or you can have namaskar at the heart. It's a big step forward with the right foot. Immediately begin to lift the toes and connect with them one by one. Bend into that right knee. Left foot is at a 45-degree angle or parallel to the short edge of the mat. I'm going to move into Warrior One. Bring your Hakini Mudra here. Inhale and reach up towards your crown with your hands. You can maintain a bend in your elbows or you can reach up high. Your stance can be wide on your mat or narrow. So notice everything that's going on here. In your mind's eye, visualize the actions of your feet, the foot lock with the earth, rooted into the earth. Hug in the shins. Draw up the energy from your feet to your thighs and to your pelvis. Imagine that your inner thighs are turning wide and back. Perhaps it helps you to bring your hands there to turn on the inner thighs. Lift your spine out of the pelvic bowl. Create space between your ears and the shoulders. Those fingers are lightly connected in your Hakini Mudra. One breath here. Bring your hands into Ganesh Mudra at the heart, left hand in front, and then turn here into Warrior Two Mahavirabhadrasana. So now we have the Ganesh lock here, left hand closest to heart. And when you're ready, my friends, open out to Mahavirabhadrasana, Great Warrior. You can bring your thumb and index to connect if you like to have a mudra. Inhale, hands Hakini Mudra above the crown. Exhale, hands into Ganesh at the heart. Open out. Let's flow like this. with intention. Maintain this connection with the lower body. Last time, Hakini above the crown. Straighten through that right leg. Turn the heart over the right leg here. If you need to adjust, make some adjustments. We're going to move into pyramid pose. So your pyramid base can be narrow or wide. Have a look at your foundation. So we're going to, in Parshavottanasana, we're going to move a little bit here. So your hands, again, choose your mudra, Hakini or Ganesh Mudra at your heart. Soft bending that right knee as you hinge from the hips, crown reaching forward. You may alter the position of that left leg, that leg that's behind you. Ganesh Mudra is highly recommended here, as if you're drawing your hands apart. Release your hands to the earth or to blocks and lift the right toes off the earth so that your heel's connected. Dorsiflexing that right foot, and then bend into that right knee and lower. And you come into a high lunge position with your left foot. Inhale back into pyramid. Parshavottanasana. Exhale to lower. Pulsing here with your breath. Imagine now that your right leg is the trunk of Ganesh. One more time. And this time, plant the left hand. Keep high on the left foot. Inhale to draw that right arm up towards the sky. Coming into your twist. One more breath. Exhale, turn your gaze down towards the earth. Bringing that right hand to the earth. Inhale, engage here. Let's rise up. So power through your legs into a high lunge here. Power through your legs as you rise up. Hakini Mudra, reaching up. Exhale, hands to your heart. In Hakini Mudra, release that left heel to the foot, to the earth, and turn the right toes. Position yourself here, wide-legged stance. Soft bending your knees, bring your hands into Ganesh Mudra. As you exhale, hinge forward. Toes are pointing forward. Outer edges of your feet are parallel to the short edges of your mat. Hinge from the hips. Tilt the weight of your body into your hips and pelvis, so perhaps you are slightly hinged behind the heels here. With each breath, you can employ Ganesh Pranayama with your mudra. Inhaling to soften. Exhaling to activate. So when you activate, draw apart your hands as if you're separating out the links in a chain. As you inhale, soften and fold. Exhale, halfway and active. So this will feel counterintuitive because we're learning to do things in a different way. We're taking a different path. Then release your hands the next time you rise up in halfway with your exhale. Release your hands to the earth. Take hold of opposite elbows and sway from left to right. And now, my friends, you can bring in your knees and your legs, swaying from left to right. Create infinity circle with your arms. So the figure of 8. So weave your arms as if you're drawing the figure 8 here, the infinity symbol. And then when you are satisfied with the movement, bring your hands to the earth. Let's come halfway. Fingertips can be on the earth or on blocks. Place your hand in the middle. Inhale to draw the left arm across the heart to reach up. Three breaths here. Again, focusing on the twist and the turning of the abdomen, the torso here, your trunk itself. Exhale to gaze down, left hand to the center, and then draw the right hand across the heart up towards the sky. Unlock your knees if you have connected them in that lock there. Exhale, gaze down, bring the right hand down. Let's walk our hand over to the left. Turn onto the ball of that right foot. Inhale, hands in Hakini Mudra here to rise up in high lunge. Anjaneyasana. Exhale, bring your hands down towards the earth, plant the right hand, and then reach up with the left fingertips towards the sky. Coming into your twisted lunge. Parivrtta Parshavottanasana. Exhale, left hand to the earth. Slightly drop, pull that right leg in, drop the heel. And we're going to rock backwards and forwards on that left foot, coming from our pyramid with the dorsiflex of the left foot and into low lunge. Pulsing here. And you might notice that I connect with Ujjayi breath, Ujjayi Pranayama. And when you are satisfied, my friends, when we rise up into pyramid, Parshavottanasana, let's stay here, bring the hands in Ganesh Mudra at the heart. Crown reaching forward, tailbone reaching back. And imagine that you are drawing your hands apart here so that you are active in the elbows. One more breath here. And then let's inhale to rise up into Warrior One and turn to directly come into the Great Warrior Mahavirabhadrasana. So checking your alignment. Left heel and toes, perhaps at a 45-degree angle or parallel to the short edge. Right foot. Left knee above the left ankle. Hips and pelvis to the long side of the mat. Imagine you are isometrically drawing your legs and feet together. At the same time, you're pulling apart your hands and elbows, so hugging in at the lower body, expanding at the heart. Inhale to reach over in Hakini Mudra. Exhale to the heart, coming into Ganesh Mudra. Let's flow here. And those of you who know the mantra Gam Ganapataye Namaha, you can connect with this as your symbol for stability, for foundation, for rootedness, for being grounded as we go through this next change. Let's turn to Warrior One by turning the hips and pelvis. Bring your hands into your Hakini Mudra and reach up. Exhale, hands to the heart, perhaps in Ganesh or Hakini Mudra. Take a moment here. Then roll onto the ball of your right foot. And we're going to step forward with the right foot so we're at the back of our mat. Take a moment here. Now, you can come into Tadasana there. Open your eyes if you're not facing a wall. My back of my mat is right at a wall. Look back to where you have come from. The journey you have already undertaken, the hurdles, the obstacles, the adversities, the challenges that you have already overcome or navigated or veered away from into a different direction. You can do this. You can move with change from a place of being grounded. Take a moment here. Perhaps you have your Hakini Mudra. And then let's turn back and look to the future. Knowing that you can navigate this path. Inhale, hands to sky. Interlace your hands, turn your palms to face up. Exhale to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale to right. Inhale to center twice more in both directions. And then release your hands, maintain that, bring your hands down, but maintain that connection between your fingers. Bend into your knees and let's come down. And then we're going to sway from left to right here. You can keep your hands interlaced. You can move your hands to your wrists or your elbows. Sway from left to right with your upper body. Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Feeling the flow of energy while you're rooted into the earth. Inhale, release your elbows halfway. Coming into Uttanasana, hands can be on thighs or shins or on the earth. Exhale, let's walk our hands forward to come into a functional forward fold. So we're not going to take our hands all the way forward into Parvatasana. We want to maintain our functional forward fold with hips behind our heels, bending our knees, spine is long. Counter reach through the hips and pelvis and the hands. All four corners of your feet are connected. Breathe into the lower back here, to the lumbar area. Expand the rib cage in all directions. And now, my friends, we can walk our hands forward to come into Mountain Parvatasana. Sway from left to right. Claw through your fingers so you feel strong connection between all the corners and edges of your hands, all the corners and edges of your feet. Suction power here. Look down towards the left foot and then reach underneath with your right arm to come into this variation of Vakratunda of Ganesha. Look under the left armpit. Turn to gaze to the center of your mat, release your right hand, and then let's shift the weight and take the left hand underneath to the back of our right leg. Gaze underneath your right armpit. Inhale, turn to center, release your hands. Take a moment here. Perhaps you come up onto your fingers, sway from left to right. Reach back long with the right leg. Take the right foot towards the right hand. Drop the left heel. Inhale, bring the right forearm onto your right thigh, and then reach overhead. As you reach overhead, turn the heart up towards the sky, coming into extended side angle. So perhaps you help the ribs turn up towards the sky. Neck is neutral here. Lift the weight. So the temptation is to drop the weight into our right forearm onto our right thigh. Lift the weight so that you could lift your arm. Your legs are doing all of the work. If you wish, you can bring your right hand to the earth here or onto a block. Exhale, turn your gaze towards the earth. Bring the left hand towards the earth. Rotate on the ball of your left foot and step back long with your right foot to meet your left. Exhale, knees, chest, chin in Ashtangasana to the earth. Tailbone is lifted. Slide away your knees. Hug in your elbows. Press through your hands and your big toes to rise up in Bhujangasana Cobra. Again, here you can sway left to right. So this is variation of Tiyak Bhujangasana swaying Cobra. And when you're ready, bend into your knees, rise up into mountain. Parvatasana. Take a moment to sway here. Walk your hands back towards you to come into functional forward fold. Hips behind the heels. Breathe into the lower body. Imagine that your belly here is resting on your thighs. Walk your hands all the way back. Engage your hands in Hakini Mudra. And then let's rise up, legs strong, spine tall. Coming up. Hakini Mudra above the crown. Exhale, hands to your heart. Ganesh. And release your hands back into Tadasana mountain, standing mountain. Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Inhale, hands reach overhead. Interlace your fingers and turn your palms up towards the sky. Exhale, left. Exhale, right. So when we inhale, we come to center, and then we exhale, move to the left or right with our exhale. 3 times in both directions, my friends. And as you sway here, maintain the connection between your feet and the earth. Root your feet into the earth. And when you've done 3 lateral crescents to the left and right, let's bend into your knees and bring our hands down towards the earth in Uttanasana. You can maintain your hands like this and sway from left to right. Take hold of your wrists or your elbows. Allow your spine to release here, your trunk to sway. This trunk that helps you to navigate skillfully. Inhale halfway, fingertips on the earth or on your shins or on your thighs. Take a moment here. Let's begin to walk our hands forward to come into a functional forward fold. Bending your knees, hips back behind the heels. Breathing long and strong here. Into the lower back. As if you were inflating a hot air balloon. And then let's walk our hands forward into mountain, Parvatasana. Claw the hands through your fingertips. Drawing your navel. Let's gaze back towards the left foot. Take the right hand to the left leg. Anywhere on the leg. Gaze underneath the left armpit. Turn to center. Let's bring the right hand to the earth. Take the left hand underneath. Again, look underneath the right armpit. Inhale to center. Reach back long with the left leg. Step forward with the left foot to the left hand. Let's rise up in Hakini Mudra. In Anjaneyasana here. Exhale, hands into Ganesh Mudra of the heart. Release the left heel to the earth. Bring the left forearm onto the left thigh. Check your alignment here. Moving into Utthita Parsvakonasana, extended side angle. So turn your heart up towards the sky. With your left arm, plug the arm bone back into your shoulder and then reach overhead. Neck is neutral here. And careful not to drop the weight into that left thigh. So keep the upper body lifted, rising, rooting through the legs. The option to bring the left hand to the earth. Ujjayi breath for power. Ocean sounding breath. And then when you're ready, my friends, turn your gaze to the earth, bring your right hand down to the earth and low lunge. Plant your hands, step back in plank. And exhale, knees, chest, chin, Ashtangasana to the earth. Inhale, slide up into Bhujangasana and sway here. Swaying Cobra Triyak, Bhujangasana. Pressing through your hands, lifting into mountain pose. And now, my friends, we're going to walk to the top of our mat, crisscross your legs. Coming into forward fold here. Take hold of opposite elbows, sway from left to right. Inhale, release your elbows, unfurl your spine, one vertebrae at a time. Keeping the chin tucked until you rise up fully into the Tadasana standing mountain at the top of your mat. You can come into Ganesh Mudra or Hakini Mudra at the heart and gaze ahead. Know that you have journeyed, navigated obstacles, hurdles, challenges that we experience whenever change happens. Ganesha, Lord of new beginnings, remover of obstacles, placer of obstacles, the wise one, helping us to skillfully, with wisdom, find our path through change. By rooting into who we are, by rooting into our foundation, and then rising up strong and powerfully from that foundation. We have the whole universe within us. We are the ones who have agency. We control the decisions we make and the paths we choose, despite the hurdles in our ways. We welcome opportunities and possibilities. We overcome adversity and challenge, not on our own, but with the power of our community. Inhale, hands reach up in Hakini Mudra, gentle back bend, open the heart to the sky. Exhale, flow down towards the earth. Bring your knees to the earth, toes tucked in Vajrasana. Remember, again, you have the options of padding your knees, padding your toes here. You can untuck your toes if you wish, my friends. You can be seated on a low footstool, hands in Hakini. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, hands come into Ganesh at the heart. Inhale to reach up in Hakini. Exhale, Ganesh Mudra. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, Ganesh. Closing your eyes. We will chant our mantra Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha 3 times. Please ensure that you feel comfortable in the asana that you have adopted. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Release your mudra. Untuck your toes. Let's all meet in Sukhasana. Imagine your full belly here. All of the laddus, the sweets of the universe contained here. This is why I welcome my fat. It is a sign of living and choosing to be in abundance of love, of wisdom, of perseverance, of power, of strength. Hands to your heart, namaskar. Closing by chanting Om Shanti. Inhale fully. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hands to your eyebrow center. Dhanyavad, 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 my friends.